Previously on The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon.
Man, this has to be one of the most intense first halves of an episode I've ever seen in my life. You know, I'd be lying if I said this was a perfect episode. Everything was going perfectly. And then they fucking kill Isabel. These old people that they run into, and we're like chilling, having dinner with these old people when they're supposed to be looking for Laurent. Came in, and then we had her death scene, and I was like, oh shit, you know. Holy shit, they got Gimps and Daryl Dixon? Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol Season 2. This is going to be our next review. This is for 205, titled Vouloir, c'est Pouvoir. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol Season 2. This one's going to be doing my review for episode 5 of Season 2, the penultimate episode. This one is titled Vouloir, c'est Pouvoir, some crap like that. Another French title. Season 3, we're probably going to be having Spanish titles, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, this episode, being a penultimate I thought was really good. We got a lot of really good stuff going on, a lot of really good action sequences, and this season, I think, has just masterfully done action scenes. Like, every, like, gunfight or, like, battle or just anything has been, like, chef's kiss this season. It's been fantastic. But yeah, this was a good episode. Basically, we've got kind of the opening where we got Daryl and Carol. They're kind of trying to make their way through. They're trying to, get back to the plane and stuff, back to Ash and stuff. We do see Ash this episode, which was cool. We kind of catch up with him a little bit in this one, which I thought was good. I think Ash is a good character. However, it looks like Ash kind of had to escape, and that's kind of what we find out this episode, is that there were people that tried to take the plane, and he had to kind of run away. And he gets trapped in this car, and basically this episode, it's the mission for Daryl and Carol to go rescue him. Kind of that, whole kind of thing, which we've seen in trailers, we've seen in promotional material, but Daryl and Carol basically make it back to Vouloir's compound. We have Caudron that shows up, and Caudron shows up as an ally, basically. And he's willing to help them out. So they hear him out, they hear out what he's saying and stuff, and Vouloir takes a chance on him and stuff. And we get Daryl and Caudron that kind of meet up again, which I thought was really good. Now, one scene I found to be a little underwhelming, I don't know about you guys, but I found this to be really underwhelming, is when Daryl goes to tell Laurent about Isabel, the fact that Isabel's dead, and Laurent's just sitting there and it cuts. It doesn't even show the scene where he tells Laurent that Isabel's dead. And I was like, wait, they just skipped over that? Like, that's kind of a necessary, that's a necessary scene, And I hate this because this is something that Hollywood script writing always does, where it's like, they don't want to go through stuff you already know, so they just skip it. I think that's one of the stupidest rules, because sometimes you do need to see that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's an important scene. And then for some reason, he finds out his mom figure, which is what Isabel basically is, his mom figure is dead, and he's just like, good night, Daryl. Like, what the fuck, kid? Like, what the fuck? Like, I just, like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But anyway, that was a kind of a dumb scene for me. But anyway, we've got a few things that go on. Daryl and Carol go find Ash. Meanwhile, Lozang attacks Vouloir's compound. Now, Lozang attacking I thought was good because he kind of comes in. You've got Caudron that's battle ready. Like, he's ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And it's a really intense scene. Mixed with that, you've got Daryl and Carol that go to Quinn's nightclub for reinforcements, basically, and for help. We get Anna that returns. She's like, Daryl, Dixon, I heard you were dead, And Daryl's like, no, not yet. And we kind of see this intense scene where Lozang's kind of chasing them through. He's trying to find Daryl, he's trying to find Carol, he's trying to find, Laurent and stuff like that. And they get them to safety, which I thought was really good. It was a really intense scene. And it was cool to see the club again, too. Like, seeing the club again, I thought was really, really exciting. But Lozang, I felt like was a really powerful force. Like, you got him making that big villain speech, while he's, like, doing, like, the monologue and stuff. Really good. I think Lozang was a really fun villain this episode and this season overall, I thought he really worked as a fun antagonist. You know what I'm saying? The thing I like about him is that he's not your generic villain. He has martial arts. He has a motive. He is religious, but he also kind of wants to believe in what he wants to believe in, and I think that's interesting, and I think the actor sells it very well too. But anyway, basically, you've got the stuff that goes down at the club. You got Anna that covers for them. I thought that was really good. And then, of course, they go to save Ash in the car that he's been locked up in for a little bit. He's, surrounded by walkers, basically. And you've got Daryl and Carol that kind of come in there. They unfortunately kind of get stuck in there with him, after fighting a good bunch of, the dead and stuff like that. But anyway, they get trapped inside. You get a big scene where they're kind of like trying to figure out what they're going to do and stuff like that, try to figure out how they're going to break out, basically. And I thought it was a really intense scene because, again, you're kind of wondering, like, okay, how are they going to get out of this? We know they do, but how are they going to get out? And we basically then see that Carol and Daryl basically decide that, they're going to have to fight their way through. But then Daryl decides he's going to then shoot one of the walkers with one of those things, those like darts or whatever, which is what he does. And it basically turns the walkers into enough to where it kills them all, blows them up, and basically you got the blood that kind of, goes all over the windshield and stuff, and you got the walkers that die out, which I was really, really intense. That was a really good scene. That was really good, and it was really intense too. I loved seeing it. I loved the action piece. It was really good, and again, seeing some walker action, I think is exactly what we needed. But that was really good. Now, we also have a fight, which this was so good. While they're looking for Daryl, while they're trying to track him down, while they're trying to, kind of chase him down, and Lozang is trying to find him as best as he possibly can, you've got a sequence where they're basically going through the catacombs, which I'm really glad that they used the catacombs again. But they used it for a final fight, which was awesome. You've got Lozang and his right-hand woman, I forget her name, but basically they go in there, they're, trying to track down Daryl and stuff like that. And they end up essentially trying to kill them in this environment, this big catacombs location. You got the skulls everywhere. You've got like the cross, which is really cool because Lozang's religious too, right? So it's kind of haunting. And you've got Daryl that fights Lozang in a really intense fight scene. Meanwhile, Kodron fights, the right hand, right? The woman. They made it seem like she died, but obviously she didn't die. They kind of made you think she was dead, but that didn't happen. But Daryl versus Lozang was one of my favorite fights that we've seen in a while. That was a great fight. Because again, he's, he knows martial arts, so he's actually kind of a challenge for Daryl. They're fighting back and forth. It was a really intense sequence. It was really good. And I like that it was actually a challenge for Daryl. Obviously, Daryl does end up killing Lozang. Lozang does go down this episode. But I thought it was poetic, kind of the way it went down. And I like the setting in the catacombs. I thought it was really good. It was definitely one of my favorite fights of this new era of Walking Dead. Because, again, it felt so unique. It felt so fresh. Using the catacombs as a final, location for Lozang and his character. And seeing him fight Daryl in the manner that he did really went out like a badass. Like, he was a good villain. He really was. I really enjoyed Lozang as a villain this season. I thought he was really good. I loved the twist of him. I loved the mystery about him all the time. And he felt like a force, to me at least. He felt like a real problem. So, yeah, I enjoyed him. I really did. I thought he was fantastic. I thought it went in a really good direction. And I thought it was a good final fight. I thought it was really, really, really great. And of course, kind of getting ready for the finale, you kind of have to wonder where things are going to go next. Obviously our characters are trying to figure a way to get out. And obviously at the end of the episode, they're getting ready to get on the plane. But then they realize that there's a problem, you know what I'm saying? Because if they get on the plane, there's not, there's too many of them. The plane won't work. So now we have a problem. We have to figure out a way on who's staying and who's going. And that's kind of the dilemma at the end of this episode. Now, one other thing that does go down this episode is that Carol finally tells Ash the truth, that she was here to look for Daryl rather than Sophia. And Ash kind of freaks out about this. And honestly, I can't blame him. He was lied to. He did go overseas for a lie. I mean, you kind of can understand the guy's perspective, you know what I'm saying? I think it makes the most sense. Yeah, I think it makes sense. But yeah, that cat's out of the bag now too. So this episode I loved. I loved everything about it. I thought it was fantastic. I think really You know, the only thing I was a little disappointed in was like Laurent's reaction to Isabel. That just felt lackluster to me. But admittedly, everything else was so good. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I loved it. I thought it was a great episode. I think they did a great job with it. I think it was an intense, penultimate episode for a insane finale. I've seen the finale, so but you guys are gonna get that review next week. Obviously, you guys know I'm reviewing episodes 2 through 6, and you guys are getting them sporadically as they release because Paramount fucked up and released the entire season. So anyway, that's gonna be that. Episode 5, loved it, and really, really good season. This season got really good, really quick, really good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Post comments down below. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click to subscribe and tune up to any other videos of The Walking Dead. Make sure to follow me on The Walking Dead's. Make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead reviews. Come, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys very soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.